Word requirement, really. You write about 1,000 words. I know that seems like a lot, but it's just a few pages. If you have small handwriting on a notebook paper, it's really not that much. I've had a lot of kids show me their work, and I ask them, how many words is it? They say, oh, about 1,200, and it was about 2 pages front and back, maybe 1 more page. So it's not as much as you think. So on this, if we open up to this right here, this is the entry form that your parents will fill out with you, and they sign. And then the back form is a questionnaire about your story. So if you finished your story, if you included some of the things that we're going to talk about today, you should be able to answer these questions. And what you're going to do is you're going to write your story and mail all of this back with your parents to the address that is on there, and you could possibly be published in the I Write Short Stories by Kids for Kids anthology series. All right, so we talked a little bit about the different nonfictions. And if some of you want to write nonfiction for this contest, go ahead, have at it. You can do whatever you want. But I also want to write or talk about the fiction. Fairy tales. Okay, what else do we have? Yes?
Historical fiction.
Okay, so historical fiction, very good.
Fiction.
Science fiction, good, so those are always fun to do. But in these two that you're talking about, you have to do a lot of what? Research, because if you don't, it may, and I mean, you can make up your own world, but if you don't have some kind of background research, your readers may become confused, or they may call you out and say, none of this makes any sense, what are you talking about? Even in the type of fiction that I write, I had to do research. So if Iggy the Iguana, #1, was all about Iggy going to elementary school, being nervous about his first day of school, meeting different kinds of animals, what kind of research do you think I had to do?
Hi, I'm Gabby, and I'm writing a story about a girl who moved from Florida to Tennessee, and she is not very happy about it. Get used to the new environment and not having the things that, some of the things that she loves that she had in Florida with her there.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm writing a book called Summer School, and it is about a girl who is failing a class, and if she doesn't get at least a C+ as her average, she has to go to summer school, and she's not very happy about it. But she ends up going to summer school, and she meets her best friend there. So, bye.
Yes, Bree.
There's realistic fiction.
That is what many of you may write about, and that's actually what I'm getting a lot of right now, is realistic fiction. And that would be, maybe Bree has a character named Bee, and maybe she goes on a summer vacation, and she goes to Disney World, and the whole story is maybe not about Bree going to Disney World, but about this character going to Disney World. But she's a real person, she's doing real everyday things, realistic fiction. So we have that.
Hi, my name is Douglas, and I have made the Three Little Frogs. It's a roll of the Three Little Pigs, which you already know, but it's different. It's a wolf spider, and it's coming soon to Longtail Publishing. And beware of the big bad wolf spider. They live with their father, Popo Frog.
Oh, and what are the frogs' names?
Andy Frog, Randy Frog, and Rocky Frog.
And I'm writing the story, Luke the Wolf. And this is how he might turn out, but not really exactly. So.
Is that a surfboard?
And he loves
A rocket.
to go surfing, but he has a problem, because this lion named Mogo is so mean. He keeps on bumping Luke into the water, and Mogo actually bumped him, and Luke got bit by a shark. But now Luke's 14, and this is the first book I'm writing.
All different kinds of things.
There's also tall tales.
Tall tales, so now we're talking about different story tales. And a lot of these, they depend on the age group that you're writing for. Now, just because you're in 6th grade, does that mean you have to write for 6th graders? No. Would you maybe want to write for 1st graders?
Yeah.
Iggy the Iguana is a book for about ages 7 to 11. But what if I wanted to do a picture book series about Molly? Molly's big imagination. And I wanted to use her character, take it out of this book, and turn it into a picture book. Could I do that?
Yes.
Of course. So you have to decide what age group you're writing for. So when you write your stories, you're going to want to think about that in your head. Just because you're in 5th or 6th grade doesn't mean you can't write a story for 2nd graders. Or you could write it for your age. It doesn't matter. I definitely did not write for my age, even though I have a lot of teachers reading Iggy the Iguana that are my age. The back cover is pretty much just as important as the front cover. People are not supposed to judge a book by its cover, right? But do we? Of course we do. We're human. Now the back cover better look good too, because that's where people look. The back cover will determine whether someone wants to buy your book or not. So 7 to 11 better be on there, because that's the first question I get at every single book signing. What age is this for? 7 to 11. A process of getting to know my audience. Since Iggy's a 4th grader, he better act like a 4th grader. Not like a 2nd grader, not like a 7th grader, and not like a 4th grader back in 1985, right? Because I think that's maybe when I was in 4th grade or in the 90s. So I better not date myself. So that's why I needed kids to be around me. I needed to ask them questions. I needed to make sure that I was writing about the right thing and I wasn't using a word that they had never heard of, because that was something I used back when I was their age. It just wouldn't make sense. Fantasy, can someone give me an example of what a fantasy book is? And you can go ahead. Right here.
Pretty much things with talking animals and like special power monsters.
Yes, all of that stuff that you know really doesn't happen. Now, here's a very interesting question. Iggy the Iguana, we know it's fiction. We know it's fantasy to some extent because the animals are talking. But what is the difference behind this?
Realistic things happen.
It's still realistic. So can anyone tell, exactly, and it's still fiction, can anyone tell me what that vocabulary word is when you give human-like characteristics to something that's exactly personification? I love that question. I've personified all of my pet animals to become humans in the book because they act like humans. They drive cars, they have feelings, they help one another out, they go to school, they do all of that stuff. But I still let you know that a box-shell turtle can't swim because he doesn't have webbed feet. That is not a human characteristic to have webbed feet, but I yet talk about it. So you have to be very careful.
Siamese cat who lives in Colorado, and she moved from China. And Lizzo, the coyote, who is really good at skiing, and she thought she's the best.
It's about a dog named Leia, and she loves to shop. But her only problem is that she lives in the jungle, so she can't really shop. Bob, the monkey, tells her to go on the internet, and she starts shopping on the internet. And at the end, since she bought all that stuff on the internet, her house is made out of all the boxes.
She lives in a desert environment, and her hometown is Arizona, but she moved to Alaska because her little brother Tigger lives there. And her favorite food is snow and sand burgers.
So before I kind of get started,